Hi, my name's Lindy and welcome to my channel. For those of you that have been following this channel for a number of years, you will know how I work and how these videos develop. For those of you that are new to the channel, thank you for subscribing and I hope you enjoy the content that I share here. First thing I'm going to say is there is so much I want to say, and I've been saying this for months now, that I am at this moment in time not allowed to talk about. When the time comes when I can talk about those things, I will be up here like a shot doing so, but until then I can't. It's very, very difficult for someone like me, being a Leo, being a bit of a warrior, being an advocate for truth, humanity, justice, freedom, all of those things, to have to keep a lot of it zipped. It's incredibly difficult for me to do that and troubles me greatly. There are a few reasons why I can't, in fact, I can't even say why I can't talk about some of the stuff. Because the work I'm doing is still active. So I'm actively working on things that I cannot share at the moment. Later on, I'll be able to, and then you'll see why. But also, some of the things I'd like to talk about. My YouTube channel would be shut down in probably about 4 days' time if I did. So I'm having to avoid those subjects. So I'm having to do things in a different way. It's terribly frustrating. I'm not the sort of personality that does well with that. I'm a Leo by nature, and lions don't do well in cages. But c'est la vie, that's what I can do at the moment. In terms of the 5-week absence from YouTube, there have been reasons for that. I'm not going to go into massive details because, again, it will become later obvious why. Let me just say one line instead of going into great detail about it. Aggression and disruption from neighbouring property where I live. Quarter of my neighbours dead or very unwell. So in a small cul-de-sac, small tiny road, quarter dead or very sick, and there's only 12 properties. Black mold, an infestation of spiders, rising damp, dry rot, wet rot, constant disruption, poltergeist activity, attack, the list goes on. I'm not going to go any further than that, and I've probably said too much there, but there's a lot been happening that has been enormously challenging for me to have to deal with. Now, the first thing you would say is, if you're a light worker, Lindy, and I've always hated that term, I must admit, I don't like that term, but let's say if you're someone that works with spirit, why are you getting so much awful stuff? Are you manifesting and creating that? And that really makes me cross, because it's such a, let's say, a simple way of looking at things. It's more complex than that. Let me just put it this way. A lot of people that are working for spirit at the moment are coming under severe pressure to not work for spirit, and are deliberately being targeted to stop them working for spirit. And unfortunately for me, this has been going on since 2020, so it's taken an enormous physical toll on my physical health. I also feel, again, what is happening in the collective. About 14 months before it happens, I'm about 14 months ahead of the game, and then my body translates what's going on in the collective. So despite not going down the Jabberwocky route myself, I've had many of the adverse reactions to Jabberwocky despite not having it. And I had that kicking in 2020 before hardly anyone had had one. So I'm still on crutches 17 months later now. And it's been enormously difficult. Not quite as difficult as last year because the forces in the world that have come out of the shadows globally are still very active, but they are weaker than this time last year, thank the Lord. And they are weakening, but it has still been an ongoing challenge. I could fill a book really with the things that have been going on here, which, most people's jaw would fall over. It's above the normal amount that anyone could expect, really, and it just keeps on coming. To cut a long story short, I'm in a situation where it is imperative that I am not in the living situation that I'm in here now. And despite all my best efforts and attempts, I seem to be deliberately being held here in this situation against my will, really, by energies that tend to not want me to not leave this area, because keeping me here provides a lot of misery and disruption, which gives them a big food source to feed off of. Very much tracks back to when I blew the whistle on disruptor energies years ago on YouTube. This would have been 5 years ago now. On YouTube, it links back to that kind of energy again. Of course, these are the energies that moved out of the darkness to make their global move in 2020. 4 years later than they hoped to, because we managed to hold them back. They wanted to do it in around about 2016. So it is, like I say, been enormously difficult. Now, another line I will say, major building works should have happened here. They never happened either. So everything that should be happening hasn't been, and everything to cause more misery and mayhem is happening on a daily basis, and a quite extreme basis as well, really. When you're dealing with the stuff I've been dealing with, both metaphysical and physical attacks. Now, in terms of the work I do, I am still working. The work is going phenomenally well, and I've got plenty of clients that will attest to that. Hasn't stopped me working. It has scaled down my working a little bit, and I can't tell you how difficult it is to work when you're constantly having to hold back a tsunami of this other stuff. But I'm doing it. There is a absolute fact in energy that as you amp up your vibration, as you amp up your frequency, as you light up in a way like a lighthouse, that draws many people to you and many energies to you that are also lighting up and wishing to light up and drawn to that, like a lighthouse drawing in ships. But it also attracts the attention of energies that don't want you to light up and or want that light for themselves. And it's an age-old story that even those amongst us that have been working, I've been working in energy for 22 years now. Even those that, colleagues of mine and people I know of and respect their work that have been doing this for like even longer, like 35, 36 years, many of them have been saying the same thing. Now, why? And they're really well protected and everything, and they've been having a lot of problems along the lines I'm saying, being really hammered hard. What I will say is, you could say to me, well, you might be someone watching me and you share guidance with people, or you might be psychic or a medium clairvoyant, or you might be a channel, or you might be, sharing from your experience, and you're not coming under these kind of attacks. Why me? And this is where I get a bit irritated when people assume the assumption, which is kind of a distorted teaching sometimes, as if you're getting a lot of shit in your life, you must deserve it, or it must be karma, or you must have to be working it through. And that really simply isn't always true, and that is not the case in this case. Certain bloodlines are being targeted more than ever before now. Forces of light have access to this information, but the forces of dark also have access to this information, particularly on, let's say, a galactic level. So part of your soul is a galactic star being soul. I'm sure if you watch this channel, you are very open-minded and interested in all things to do with energy and awakening and love and humanity and compassion, whether it's done through the awakening of meeting someone and coming through that template, or whether it's done another way. I'm sure you're interested in all those things. What I will say to you is, I'm sure you're open to the idea that there is a rung, like a ladder, a rung of your consciousness or part of you that is galactic and not completely organically from Earth, but came to Earth. I mean, it's pretty much, that's the case for pretty much everybody, really. I mean, pretty much everybody. The so-called junk DNA was never junk in the first place. So these galactic codes, when people are ready to tune into them inside themselves, because they're theirs, these come online inside people and activate. So, it's also come to my awareness, and I have to be careful what I say here again. How am I going to word this? Because it's come to my awareness, I have to put it that way. It's come to my awareness that certain galactic civilizations that you may be in your soul are not liked by other galactic civilizations, and there have been, let's say, galactic wars, and there is still an ongoing war, really. And so certain lineages and bloodlines, if you have a galactic heritage inside your consciousness, that you're linked to a planet that's been at war with another planet, and you're here on the Earth plane, there's a lot of that targeting going on as well. So it all sounds a little bit heavy, and you could interpret it that way, and my God, it does feel heavy when you're going through this stuff on the physical plane. It's not easy to go through some of the stuff that some of us are going through here. But on the lighter side, shall we say, we are over halfway through the most pivotal point in human history. The plaster has been pulled off more than halfway now, and the rest of the plaster is going to be coming off through 2022. I pick up 2023 as being a significant year. 2021 has been really the witnessing of the unfoldment of some absolutely extraordinary atrocities against humanity. But it's also been the unfoldment of huge breakthroughs of forces of love and compassion, and galactic forces of love and compassion, and angelic forces of love and compassion, and elemental forces of love and compassion, spirit forces of loving compassion coming to the fore in a way that probably has never been seen before. Why are they all stepping forward? Why are they helping us so much? Because we have been in a war, and we are in the Third World War here. That might shock some of you watching this, because you may look around you and say, well, yeah, quite a lot's changed, but I would hardly call this a war. We've been in a war, a spiritual war, and a war for the human soul now since back end of 2019. And yes, we know the end result, and yes, they know the end result, and we win it, and we win it hands down. But we're not at the end yet. It's great to know what the end result is, and it's great to know that it cannot be altered. We cannot not win it, and they can't stop it, and that's great. But we are moving through the eye of the storm as I speak. So we're moving through this plaster halfway off. Next half has got to come off, coming on through this later year and into 2022. So we've got a little bit to go yet. There are incredible things happening. Like I say, it's almost like a two-way split, really, both in human consciousness, which way you're going to go. Are you going to go turn right? Are you going to turn the right way? Are you going to turn right? Are you going to turn in to the heart, into love? Or are you going to turn away? Are you going to turn away from love and away from who you truly are, and away from compassion and humanity, and away from ascending in the human body? We have this two-way split going on, where we can see this as evidence around you in your own personal lives. Pretty much everybody now, and some countries more so than others, but pretty much everyone now knows someone that has died from the Jabberwocky, or very sick from the Jabberwocky. That's going to be my name for it. Or knows people whose cause of leaving the earth plane has been put down to something that simply isn't true, beginning with C. Or people, I mean, especially talking about the UK here, because our health service has basically been closed since the beginning of this, they have not been able to access the services they need. So we will have large numbers of people leaving the earth plane here because they can't access healthcare. They can only access it if it's to do with the Jabberwocky or the sea, and that's the only reason. So for someone like me, this is really difficult, because nothing to do with fear, although there have been moments that have brought fear up in me, and what if things have been going on directly aimed at me, and it's not really to do with that. It's to do with frustration. I am such a protective, caring individual. It's kind of who I am, that to see so many people suffering is very distressing for me, and to actually feel a lot of that as well. It's just such an injustice, and I think the hardest thing for me during this period of time is to tread that road of balance, that tightrope of balance between not getting too immersed in the injustice of it, and the anger and the frustration, and wanting people to see it and realize what's happening and protect them, and doing the best that I can from the spiritual perspective of it. I would not be me, I wouldn't be authentic, I wouldn't be telling the truth if I came up here and did not reference what I'm seeing happening to humanity. I have to be honest, I don't understand anyone that works with spirit or channels or does this that can pretend that it's not happening. I know everybody's different, and everybody comes from a different angle, but to pretend it's not happening when there are extraordinary things happening to people and you're seeing it up close and personal, I will never personally understand how people can't reference that at this point in history. But I fully appreciate people that come at things in different ways, and we all make up those stitches of that same tapestry. So October energies October energies, this is an extraordinarily fast moving year, isn't it? I mean, we will blink and we will be at the end of this year. And for many of us, we will be heaving a big sigh of relief because 2021 has had a lot going on. There is no country really not affected by what's been going on, but some countries have got it harder than others. You know, my heart goes out to Australia. Footage I see coming out of Australia, it's heartbreaking. We have it really quite ruthless here in the United Kingdom. Everybody is now fighting for fuel or gas to put in their car from a manufactured so-called crisis there now. So you have these added daily frustrations, you know, trying to sort these things out, which I think the overall consensus, I mean, I would say this for a lot of countries, but certainly over here, people are getting angry. They're getting really tired and frustrated of coping with this continually. The things that hoops that we are being forced to jump through just to have a role or function in society, being made to do things that are against our sovereign being, authentic being. And everybody, I think, has within them this personal line of that is a bridge too far for me. And I think a lot of people are now reaching that. Now, you would say to me again, why is it taking so long? And why are some countries or cultures or populations getting the message quicker and standing in their sovereignty, standing in their power, realizing the bigger picture quicker than others? It's just that, you know, it's just the way that it is. It comes down to family lineages, it comes down to people's ascension path or spiritual path, it comes down to soul families, blood families. It comes down to that bigger picture. We always knew that there is no way of fast tracking this. It's going as fast as it can. People have to see it for themselves. When you have a beautiful baby born and that baby is then a toddler, you cannot make that baby's legs move to walk across the room. The baby has to be the one that walks. You can encourage the baby to walk. You can hold the baby's hands and support the baby as that baby walks, but you can't make that baby walk. The baby walks when it's ready to walk. Now, I'm not saying that we're all babies or everyone's babies, but it's a simple metaphor. People walk when they're ready to walk, and some will not be ready to walk, and they're not going to do it this time round. And it's not a tragedy or a travesty. It's just that they never planned to do it this time round, and they're not going to do it in the human body. They're not going to move through into the next phase. But there will be plenty that do. And again, you know, I take my hat off to all of you. Anyone on the earth plane at the moment, you know, it is a phenomenal time to be alive. There is a lot of interest in what is happening to human beings at the moment, on planet and off planet, because it's never been done this way before. Like I said, when we did it before in the civilizations of Atlantis and Lemuria, we came here evolved. We didn't build our way up to being evolved. We came here evolved. We never did it this way round. We never had the grand amnesia that we have been in, and then starting to awaken, start to realize we've been in a coma, and then working our way up from here. And some people will remain asleep and remain in that coma, and they will do it when they've left the human vehicle. But plenty are coming up through those rungs of consciousness and awakening now. And like I say, I think the most common thing I say at the moment is I just wish it wasn't so hard for people and hard for all of us. I wish it didn't involve so much density and suffering for people. I wish I didn't see witness around me constantly the deliberate manufacture of suffering for people. You know, I wish I didn't know, and you know, all these things would come out, you know, about the mass, you know, the mass culling of masses of people. And you know, this sounds really woo-woo and out there, but you know, I can promise you this. This is all going to be proven. It's starting to be proven now, but this will all come out. It will come out in the months ahead and in the next year or two ahead. It's all going to come out, and so many amazing things are going to come out. Yes, there's going to be some horror stories that come out that are going to shock people to the core. Some people will cope with that soul shock better than others. And there are going to be some amazing revelations come out. And this is all to do with the two-way split now, this happening. If you look at that action of this happening, are you turning left away from who you are? Are you turning right into who you are? As I go like that, it almost leaves a space or a gap there. This here, the next stage or the next phase really, is stepping into the 0 point neutral unified ascension reality, which isn't a woo-woo made up thing. It's here, it's real, solid, landed in the physical in 2020 for the mass population. That is what it is, and people will be, as the old crumbles inside them, as the old falls away around them, as the truth comes out and they stand in the sovereignty and the truth of who they will be creating what comes next, creating their reality, making choices from the heart, from love and compassion. The reality that we're left with in the next few years is the ascension reality, really coming from a higher vibrational rate of one's own consciousness, creating from there, having relationships from there, making choices from there across the mass population. Not just, let's say, the first wavers. This is going to be the next wave for everybody. I could almost call it, and when I glance away like this, I'm picking this up as I'm saying it. I'm going to call it the eighth wave, or the infinity wave. The eighth wave, or the infinity wave, is an actual state of one's own consciousness. I always like to describe consciousness as a ladder in somebody's heart, and when they start to open that heart, there is a ladder in there with different rungs of different levels of consciousness that one can open and activate to get to their highest heart portal potential. Let's call this the eighth wave, or the 8 infinity consciousness. It's another rung of that ladder, which is all about the complete balance of the masculine and feminine inside one, the complete balance of light and dark within one, brought into a neutral playing field, 0 point playing field, the complete marrying up or merge between higher self, the consciousness within spirit, soul, all merged there into one, being the embodiment of all of these things, living from that higher consciousness reality, making choices from there, creating from there. Let's call it again the 8th wave, or the infinity wave of consciousness that is inside you. And that will be activated at different points within people. But that is the point, let's say globally, available to everyone now. And some will tap into it and some won't yet. Some will a bit later, some never will. But it is there. And it's bringing it all, spirit, into manifest in the physical realm within someone. So their higher self, their multidimensional them, all that they have ever been, will be, are all happening in the same moment, here and now, within them. It is somewhat of a masterclass. It brings me full circle to how I started this video. I mean, how can I start this video without telling you personally little hints of what's been happening here? I could not be me. I could not be the authentic me. Could never ever say that I'm not someone who doesn't genuinely, honestly, truthfully present. I can't lie. You're going to see it in my eyes. What I would say to you is, I've got this saying: you have to have something to create from and with. And if you are sitting in a pottery class about to make a pot or a vase or something, you have to have some clay to work with, else you can't form anything. A lot of people on the path of becoming who they truly are, going into the heart, ascending in their human bodies, have a lot of clay to work with, because they're going to be creating a lot, but they are not only letting go of their own stuff, but they are often the ones that are clearing it through for the ancestry and the bloodline and the soul family that they're in. The lighter you are, the more you're taking on that role as well, and then you're helping out the collective. And to, let's say, earn your mastery, earn your sovereignty, to remember your sovereignty, to remember your mastery, to walk your mastery, you have to have something to work with. You could say to me, is it like a test? Is it like a lesson? That almost implies that there's a big teacher there and we're naughty children. I would almost say to you that it is challenging and it is testing. You have to have something to work with. You have to be given the opportunities to turn left or right. And which one are you going to do? Are you going to turn into a bitter, twisted, distorted version of you and turn away from the love and compassion and the heart that you are? Given enough pushing, giving enough hammering, are you going to do that? Or are you going to turn even more to love, more to the heart, more to the truth, more to who you truly are? Is it going to help you to become of service to others and help people and have that compassion because you've gone through a lot yourself? Or is it going to make you just turn the other way from it? These are the opportunities that we are all being given, and many that are on the path to awakening and coming into the heart are given. I can tell you that globally, the path for humanity, the ascension reality, is 1,000,000% on track, unstoppable, and is happening. It's happening at lightning speed. I know it doesn't always seem like that when there's a lot of not very nice stuff going on, and so many freedoms being taken away from us, and so many atrocities, and so many people, one way or another, being culled. Culled would be the word. I brought a video out on my YouTube channel, believe it was in 2017, called The Genocide Program, warning of this, if you like, then, and never has that video I brought out then been more apt. But we have that going on, pushing many of us into survival mode. And then you have a choice. Are you going to stay in survival mode? Are you going to stay in there? Or are you going to keep balancing it out with the heart? Are you going to keep bringing it out to the heart? Are you going to be completely immersed in the survival? Or are you going to come into the heart, see the bigger picture, know it's all only temporary, it's all changing and going to be changing very, very quickly. It's a constant choice that you get to make. If you keep sticking to the straight and narrow, if you keep turning in the right direction, which I'm hoping if you're watching this YouTube channel that you are going to reap the amazing rewards of that. And I mean on the earth plane. So many times it's said, well, you'll get the rewards when you're in heaven or on the other side. And yes, that is true. But I think people need to know that you can also reap the rewards whilst remaining in the human body. Otherwise, there would be no incentive to do so. And the rewards are going to be this: bursting through of human consciousness into being free and having freedom, true freedom, perhaps for the first time ever. Freedom to live your lives through love and compassion from that, not being forced to do things that take you away from who you are, forced to do things that make you unhappy, having to do it just to survive. To be free, sovereign beings, creating your reality. Not in a selfish way, creating your reality that contributes to the whole. Being who you truly are, your highest vibratory state, is your greatest contribution to the collective, because that puts out a pulse or a frequency that the collective hear, sense, and pick up on. Without that, the ascension reality would never have become a physical reality. If millions of you out there had not chosen that path inside yourself, the ascension reality would never have become a tangible, real, solid thing. And so round and round we go. So that eighth wave or infinity consciousness is accessible to the masses now. Some will access it later, some will already be accessing it. It's certainly been very relevant, and I've seen a lot and felt a lot around that myself in this last year or so. There is so much more to come. There is so much more amazing stuff to come, and revelations to come, and big news coming out, and mind-blowing amazing stuff to come. And I wish again that there wasn't the flip side to that of not so much nice stuff to hear the truth about and for that to come out. But we can't avoid that. That's the only way people are going to be able to see it or not see it. It's a thing about being human. Human beings have to see it for themselves. They have to witness it and experience it. In spirit and working from soul, it's very much done on trust, but human beings, it has to be evidential. It has to be evidential. It has to be in front of them. They have to be able to touch it, taste it, feel it. It has to be experiential. Which brings me full circle again. I mean, all the way along the line, the whole several years that I've been on YouTube, it's all been an experiential channel. I didn't know at the time why it had to be done that way, why I had to go through the things I was sharing, experience them firsthand, as well as channeling it through. Why did it have to be that I had to do it boots on the ground? And I now know why. So to become a template, you have to be the template, not just talk about the template. To become the embodiment, you have to go through those processes to start to embody it. To be relatable to people, because at the end of the day, I am a person. I have to go through the human experience, as tough as it is, and as much as it sometimes sucks. You know, it can be beautiful and wonderful, but sometimes it sucks, and it's sucked a lot since 2020. I wouldn't be me, I wouldn't be human, I wouldn't be relatable or understandable or empathic or sympathetic or any of those things if it wasn't that way. It's the human experience. It's the human going through this awakening, the human part of it. And there are many attempts to divide us and separate us into skin color, sex, everything, you know, Jabberwocky and non-Jabberwocky, every kind of division tactic going on here. But we are human, and we have to remember we are human. It's humanity. And that is what the war is over. The war is an attack on humanity, on humans. because we have been a vast food source for particular civilizations, non-terrestrial civilizations, since they interfered and took us down at the fall of Atlantis and Lemuria. I know it sounds crazy, I know it sounds woo-woo, but it is what it is. And we win. And we are winning. But we aren't at the end of the war yet. We are more than halfway through. If you're someone watching this that you feel tired and weary, you're fed up of being in survival mode, it seems to be going on and on. You feel isolated, or you're not with the people you love, or you're not with the one that you love, and you think, how much longer is this going to go on? It's not going to go on for too much longer now. We're halfway there now, more than halfway there. It's a question of every single day doing the best that you can. That's all you can ever do. Try to connect with nature, the basics. Try to look after yourself in terms of what you're watching, who you're mixing with, what you're drinking, eating, smoking, inhaling. Try to make the best possible choices you can. Try to do something that makes you laugh every day, that's comical, or even watch comedy. Try to keep the faith, keep the inner knowing, keep that inner knowing. I mean, that inner knowing is even more than faith, because it's knowing. And I guess that's where I get a benefit here, really. I guess being a medium and working in energy for so long, and knowing that this period of history was coming for so long, is it's beyond faith, it's a knowing. I know the end result. There are millions out there that know the end result. And it's going to be worth it. It has to come down the way it's coming down. But what an extraordinary time to be alive. So these October energies, really, it's pretty much full on. It has been for a while now. Lots of stuff happening. Try to come back to that place of being in the heart. I'm not going to say it yet. It is true, we have this neutral 0 point consciousness that we are, but I'm not going to say to you, be neutral, because sometimes you're not going to feel neutral, and I would be doing you an injustice. Sometimes I don't feel neutral, not when I'm seeing humanity being smashed to the floor, some of them, and being effectively executed. I can't be neutral on that, because I wouldn't be a loving, compassionate being if I was neutral on it. But I don't stay in that place, because I'd be tearing my hair out and I would be messing myself up. I can't stay there for weeks or months, but I do allow myself to feel, and then I try and bring it back to the bigger picture, again, the bigger picture, without spiritually bypassing it, without pretending it's not happening. One step at a time, keep walking it back to your heart, make the best decisions you can at this time. It's all in the now, it's all happening now, past, present and future. It's all temporary. Don't fix on something, grab onto it like concrete. It's all movable. The way I describe it and the way I see it is a chess game. Except we are in the chess game, but the chess game's in a swimming pool. And the water keeps sloshing across the swimming pool and moving the chess pieces. And then we go back to where we are. We are just our position. And then the water sloshes again across it again. We are in a movable chess game at the moment. It's going to be moving and moving and moving for quite some time. I mean, it always was, really. It was an illusion to think it was fixed and solid, but it definitely isn't now. So get used to being on that surfboard, metaphorically speaking. Get used to being movable, flexible, Don't be afraid to feel. You are humans, but don't get absolutely immersed and obsessed and caught up in that feeling for ages. If you keep looping in the same patterns, have a look at that. And just keep being true to yourself. Keep being who you truly are. That's all I have to say. I hope you found some help and some value from that. I am doing sessions. I am now booking, because October is fully booked, for November. I've got sessions left for November, and gosh, then we'll be into December. I am working. The sessions are, some of those sessions are, I mean, it brings a smile to my face, I'm finding them quite extraordinary myself, particularly the multidimensional healing sessions, which cover a lot of bases. But I'm still doing the connection sessions for people that are in an awakening connection. They don't know what that connection is. Their life is changing. Everything's moving as a result of that. I'm doing those as well. And well, all the sessions I do are on my website, Lindy at raisingreality.com. You'll find it there. So I hope to be up here again soon. Like I said, I plan to be on here sooner than I was today, but it's been quite a challenge. It's been a challenge for a long time. I can't pretend that I am not tired of it, because some of it has been enormously extreme and I haven't gone into all the details here yet. I am tired of it, to be honest, but like you, I'm doing the best I can, taking one day at a time and moving through this period of history that we're moving through. I'll love you and leave you. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourselves, and I will no doubt see you again soon. Bye, guys.